I'm here today to speak about my perspective growing up as a child in foster care, navigating my way through the trials and tribulations of my life thus far, and how fostering has changed my life for the better. 2 days old, I was placed into child protection involvement at 2 days old. I was born premature and underweight as a result of my birth mum's substance abuse while she was pregnant with me. She had been using heroin and amphetamines, and I was born withdrawing from these substances, having to stay in the special care nursery for 5 weeks. At 5 months old, I was removed from the care of my birth mum due to domestic violence between both my parents and their ongoing use of drugs and alcohol. At only 8 months old, I was put into the care of my foster mum, my foster dad, and my foster brother. In the care of this family, I was blessed with an unbelievably great childhood, with everything a kid would ever want or need. I had my own room, I had my own bed, I had an abundance of toys I could play with. We grew up with dogs, so I would always have somebody to chase around or hang out with. We went on holidays, trips to Queensland and Tasmania. I played many sports, with tennis being my one true passion even to this day. I was loved and cared for in this household. It was where I belonged. At around 4 years old, my foster dad passed away. This had been a big loss in my life, as he'd been somebody of comfort and somebody that I could rely on. For my foster mum, it meant it was now solely her responsibility to ensure the care of myself and my foster brother, all while raising us as a single mum. While in the care of my foster family, I would have visitations with both my birth mum and my birth dad. It was decided that visitations would be healthy for my development and would help me to form a sense of identity. Visits with my birth mum as a child were always a toss-up. One day she was alright, and then in other instances she would be off the rails. In most common instances of our visitations, everything would be normal. Often we would go to McDonald's or out to a local park. We would walk around with each other and we would share snacks. However, at times she would become distant, lose focus on the conversation and stare into the unknown. I would often have to prod her back to reality, going, "Are you alright? Are you okay?" On a couple of occasions, she would leave early or never come at all, stating that she could not do this. It was believed that she was still under the influence of substances, and on various occasions where she had gotten abusive and threatening, either in front of me or towards me, it was clear that I was not suitable to be in her care. In this time period, my birth dad had made very minimal effort in attending visitations and forming a connection with me. However, in the few visitations we had, it had been stated that I had been very relaxed and open with him. There was lots of laughter, and after numerous visitations, I would talk about the experience with a lot of enthusiasm. At 5 years old, following a contested hearing, I was transitioned into the full-time care of my birth dad and his then partner, my stepmom. While being in their care, I was often left alone with my half-brother and my stepmom. I would often be accused of hitting my younger brother, who was just a toddler at the time. I never hit him, not once, but I was still accused every so often. As punishment, I was made to lay on the bed, bum out, and I would get slapped repeatedly. Whenever it was my stepmom compared to my birth dad, she always hit harder. She would often tell me that if I hit him again, she would tell her older children to come around and to beat me, to teach me a lesson. While living in the fear of this household and my stepmom, my birth dad was never around. He was always at the bowls or gone golfing. He had failed to protect me, and I could never feel fully comfortable in the household or within his presence ever again. Thankfully, I still had visitations with my foster mum every few weeks. It was clear to her that I was different, and on one occasion I had come back with a visible bruise on my cheek. It was clear that from the bruises and my change in personality, that living with my birth dad was no longer an option, and I had to move back into a safe place. After 1 year in the care of my birth dad, I moved back into the care of my foster mum at 7 years old. Back in the safety of my foster mum, I had been given a better life. I was presented with a lot more opportunities and success than I believe I would ever have had I stayed with my birth dad. One of the greatest achievements of my life so far was at age 16, when I represented my school and Australia at the 2019 Future Problem Solving Competition, which was held in the United States and was against 26 competing countries. Our school group, we did our presentation based on stress and anxiety in use. and on the final day of competition with bated breath, we were announced the champions for our division. It was one of the greatest feelings of my life, and all I can remember is the Australians rising from the crowd, all in uproar. Another great achievement and opportunity I was involved in was in 2020, where I was approached by one of my teachers who had nominated me for the Young Australian of the Year Awards. As a part of this award, there was a trip around the local area to learn about the historic sites, and I was invited to a session at the Parliament in Victoria. At a later date, I would be invited to go to Canberra and see Parliament there. Unfortunately, this was during COVID times, and in previous years when this program had taken place, the groups had had the opportunity to meet the Prime Minister. As you can imagine, I was very disappointed to miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime experience. Regarding my birth parents, my birth dad has unfortunately passed away due to suicide when I was 15 years old, and I have since ceased contact with my birth mum when I was 16 because of the negative toll it took on my mental and emotional health while trying to keep a relationship with her. Being raised in my foster family, I've grabbed every opportunity that has been in front of me with both hands, and I've worked hard for the opportunities I've been given. I've done well in school through leadership roles, volunteering, and representing Australia on an international stage. I've made something of myself, somebody who I'm proud of. In my current life as a 21-year-old, I'm now currently renting, living the adult life, all while pursuing my studies in a Bachelor of Social Work. Having been inspired by my own upbringing and experience in the system, I believe that by pursuing social work, I can bring life experience into this role to better help children who are currently in the same situation as I was. This is why I speak in front of you all today. With a foster care shortage across Australia, it is becoming increasingly difficult for foster children to be provided with adequate support to ensure their safety, education, and happiness throughout their life. Take me as your example, as a foster child successfully raised and cared for, involved with child protection at just 2 days old, and having lived with my foster family for the majority of my life, I stand before you now, representing and speaking for all foster children across Australia. I am now asking on their behalf for an increase in funding and a change in policies that will better help foster children to stay with their foster carers. These changes include workplace leave entitlements, better access to healthcare for children who are unable to live with their biological parents, and a change to the taxation rules, allowing foster carers to be paid appropriately enough to increase and cement their role in their foster children's lives. Thank you for the opportunity to let me speak about my story today. I hope this speech has resonated with you all and that the desired outcome becomes reality. Thank you.